Good morning, boys and girls. Today we begin our last unit on proofs of geometry. And in this unit, we're going to look at quadrilaterals, parallelograms. So we need to begin with a prerequisite, which are parallel lines and transversals. So let's give a couple of definitions. Parallel lines have the same slope. Okay. Rewrite that. Have the same slope. Therefore, they never intersect. So parallel lines are lines that have the same slope and never intersect. A transversal is a line that intersects a pair of parallel lines. And I guess it doesn't have to be a pair of parallel lines. There can be an infinite number of parallel lines, but the transversal intersects them all. One thing we need to remember for this unit is supplementary angles are two angles that add up to 180 degrees. They make a straight line. So in this diagram, they're asking you to name the parallel lines. Which two lines will never intersect? Well, we can see line M and line N will never intersect. So we say M and, for some reason I cannot make an and sign on this device. M and N are parallel because notice they have the same slope. They both have a slope of 0, and they will never intersect. The transversal is the line that intersects both the parallel lines. So this would be our transversal. Okay? Now, when we have two parallel lines and a transversal, there's some characteristics about the angle that you need to know. So one thing you need to know is that vertical angles are congruent. And we talked a little bit about this in circles. But vertical angles, in this case, vertical angles would be 1 and 4. So angle 1 and angle 4 are vertical. Meaning that angle 1 and angle 4, well, what can be implied is that angle 1 and angle 4 are congruent. 5 and 8 are also vertical angles. So 5 and 8 are congruent. Name and highlight the corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are angles that are in the same position, if you will. So our corresponding angles, let's get a different color. The two corresponding angles would be 1 and 5. And if you notice, 1 and 5 are pretty much in the same position. We could also say that 3 and, you guess, 3 and what? 3 and 7 are corresponding. Can somebody else name another pair? 2 and 6. And then one more pair. Let's get a different color. I don't know if I use sort of an orange color. That might confuse you. I haven't used yellow yet. Let's use yellow. And 4 and 8 are corresponding angles. And so that means that 1 and 5 are congruent, 2 and 6 are congruent, 3 and 7 are congruent, and 4 and 8 are congruent. And what do I mean when I say congruent? They have the same measure. Alternate interior angles Interior means inside. So alternate interior angles would be 3. What is going on with that? I don't know. So 3 and 6 would be an interior angle. Those two are congruent. Okay? We could also say the same thing about 4 and 8 would be interior angles. Alternate, and so 3 and 6 are congruent. No. Yes, 3 and 6 are congruent. Alternate exterior angles would be like, exterior angle would be on the outside, so that would be like 1. Sometimes that doesn't want to work. 1 and 8 would be alternate exterior angles. So 1 and 8 are congruent. Same side interior angles are supplementary. So that means that their sum is 180. So again, just choosing a different color. Let's choose purple. We haven't done purple all day. So same side interior would be 4. That doesn't look like 4, it looks like 2. So 4 and 6. Those two would be supplementary, meaning if I added those together, I would angle 4 plus angle 6 would equal to 180. And same side exterior are also supplementary. So that would be 1 and 2. Those two are supplementary, which makes sense because 1 and 2 form a straight line, so they would have to be supplementary. We could also say that about 7 and 8. Although let's use a different color so we'll know we won't confuse them. Let's do pink. And so we could say 7 and 8 are also exterior, same side exterior angles. Okay, so those are supplementary. So by knowing these, now you really don't have to know the terminology for it. And if I'm being completely honest, I had to look up the terminology, but I could tell you which ones are congruent and which ones are supplementary by sight. So if we know the measurement of one, then we can find the measurement of the others. So if I know angle 1 is 120, that's what they tell me, angle 1 is 120, then if it's a vertical angle, it would also be 120. So what's the vertical angle to 1? That would be 4. So 4, because it's a vertical angle, would also be 120. What is a corresponding angle to 1? So if we go back up, corresponding angles are congruent. So a corresponding angle to 1 is 5. So that means that 1 and 5 are the same. And if 1 and 5 are the same, then 5 and 8 are vertical, so that would make 8 vertical as well. So that means I can find 5 is 120 and 8 is 120. Now what do I know about 1 and 2? 1 and 2 are same side exterior. So since 1 and 2 are same side exterior, that means they're supplementary. So to find 2, it would be 180 minus 120, which is 60. So now I know that angle 2 is 60. So if angle 2 is 60, then what other angle has to be 60? Angle 3, because it's vertical. So then angle 3 is 60 as well. Now what's the corresponding angle to angle 3? 7 is a corresponding angle. So 7, well, let me choose it. Nope. 7, there we go. 7 then has to be 60. And what's the vertical angle to 60 is 6. So that makes 6 60 as well. Okay? So your angle will either be congruent or it will be supplementary. What I would like for you to do is I'd like for you to try the next set of parallel and transversals. They give us that 1 is 72. So then I want you to find the corresponding angle. Find a vertical angle. And then when you find a vertical angle, find a corresponding angle. And then find a vertical angle to that. And then you can say all of those are 72. And then once you have that, you would find the supplementary. You know that 1 and 2 are supplementary. So you can find 2 by saying 180 minus 72. And then find what's vertical to that. And then find what is that word? Corresponding to 2. And then find its vertical angles. Okay? So I want you to pause the video or stop the video, finish this, and then you can ask your substitute teacher if you got the correct answer. He has the correct answer, and he also is a math teacher, so he understands how to do it. And then after you go over this in class, come back and watch the second video on quadrilaterals. Okay? I'll see you.